I'm Catherine.
And I'm Brian.
And we decided to do a fun little redux of our 12 days of vegan Christmas recipes. We released 12 videos in 12 days to count down to our very first Christmas in operation as Tasty, Thrifty, Timely in
2021.
2021.
We went Christmas crazy. 12 videos, 12 days. Woo!
And these recipes are so delicious that we thought we would re-release them for you in one easy-to-watch compilation. If you're new here, then these are probably videos and recipes that you haven't seen. And if you've been following along with us from the beginning, then you'll be reminded of some of the holiday recipes you love and want to pencil back onto your list for this year.
You'll see delicious breakfast, desserts, drinks, snacks, all the fixins, and a great main dish to top it off. Whoa, Christmas is here. So if you're getting into the holiday spirit, like me, like Catherine, you love Christmas.
Me too.
Then hit that subscribe button and here's 12 vegan Christmas recipes.
Let the countdown begin. It's day one of Tasty, Thrifty, Timely's 12 days of vegan Christmas recipes, and I'm making an elegant baked pear and stone fruit dessert. It's easy, it's naturally sweetened with a date syrup, and it's a classy finish to a holiday meal. So let's start with the date syrup. 1/3 cup pitted dates. I use about 8 Deglet Noor dates, and if they are a little hard from being stored in the fridge, just soften them in warm water for 5 to 10 minutes. Add the softened dates to your blender or food processor with 1 cup fresh water, a 1/4 teaspoon pure vanilla extract, and 1/8 teaspoon sea salt. Blend until smooth. If your machine is not the strongest on the market like mine and little flecks of dates remain, that's all right. You can make this sauce ahead of time and store it in the fridge, or make it while you preheat your oven and prepare the fruit. Preheat your oven to 400 degrees Fahrenheit. Wash and slice your fruit. To serve 4, I slice 2 pears in half and use a spoon to remove the core. It's helpful to start with pears that are slightly soft, and Bosc, Anjou, or Bartlett work well. Slice 3 peaches in half. Give them a little twist to loosen them, and use a spoon to remove the pit. Slice 3 plums in quarters and de-stone them. Place the fruit, along with some fresh herbs if you'd like, in a baking dish, and take 1/2 cup of your date syrup. Reserve the rest, and mix the 1/2 cup of syrup with a 1/4 cup of fresh water to thin it. Drizzle this diluted syrup all over the fruit, and bake for a total of 35 to 45 minutes. After 15 minutes, you can peek at your fruit and give it a little bake. Just spoon some of that syrup that's collected at the bottom of the dish back over the fruit to moisten them. You can do the same at the 30-minute mark, and feel free to add a couple tablespoons of water to make the basting easier. And for the last few minutes of the baking time, you can slide in your candied almonds. Coarsely chop 1/3 cup raw almonds and drizzle 1/2 tablespoon maple syrup over them. Lay the almonds on a parchment-lined baking sheet and bake them for the last 5 to 6 minutes that your fruit is in the oven. It smells like the holidays in here. Feel free to add more maple syrup to the almonds if you want to more heavily candy them. And if you want to keep this recipe sugar-free, then you can coat the almonds in a little bit of that reserved date syrup. The only thing I find with that is that because of the water content in the syrup, the almonds get a little soft. I love that this dessert is sweetened naturally by the date syrup, but you can also make a really quick sugar syrup by boiling some water, some sugar, and a pinch of lemon juice. So click the link below for this recipe where I walk you through an alternative syrup. Oh, and if you want to serve some coconut whipped cream on the side of this dish like I do, then put a dash of almond extract in it. To serve your elegant baked pear and stone fruit dessert, lay 1 piece of pear in each dish and surround it with the peaches and plums. Garnish with rosemary if you have it. Drizzle with the date syrup you had set aside and sprinkle on the candied almonds. Serve with a scoop of coconut whipped cream or ice cream to boost up the decadence. This is such a delicious and classy dessert. And when there can be so many pies and cookies around the holidays, this can make a nice change after a meal. Then you can have your cookies afterwards. This baked pear and stone fruit dessert serves 4 and costs us just over $9, about $2.30 a serving. And a batch of our 5-minute coconut whipped cream costs us $2.45. So click the links below for these recipes, and tomorrow is day 2. We're making turtles. Not turtle doves, but an easy homemade version of the nutty, caramelly, beloved Canadian turtles chocolates. These are a holiday staple, so it's not surprising that there are a plethora of vegan versions on the internet, and we're going to add our own into the mix. Grab about 130 grams or 1 1/3 cup pecan halves. Try to choose pieces that are nicely intact. I love toasting my nuts, but for this recipe, I actually prefer pecans that are untoasted so the date caramel isn't overpowered. But feel free to toast your pecans at 350 degrees Fahrenheit for 6 to 8 minutes if desired. In your food processor, make the date caramel. Add 1/2 cup oats or oat flour, 1 cup pitted Deglet Noor dates. If they're a little hard, soak them in warm water for 5 minutes to soften them, and 1/4 teaspoon sea salt. Blend until a smooth, sticky dough forms. On a lined baking tray, arrange your pecans in sets of 3 and scoop about 1/2 teaspoon of the date caramel. Arrange the pecans in a Y shape. Form the caramel into a patty and press the caramel onto the pecans. If you want to make turtles that are completely dunked in chocolate, arrange 2 pecans side by side, press the date caramel patty on top, and sandwich it in with 1 more pecan half. Continue until all the date caramel has been used up, and slide the tray in the freezer while you melt your chocolate. Melt 3/4 cup vegan dark chocolate chips and 1 teaspoon coconut oil on the stovetop using a double boiler method or in the microwave. For the microwave method, heat the chips and coconut oil for 30 seconds, take the bowl out and give the chocolate a stir, then heat in 10 or 15 second increments, stirring in between until the chocolate is melted. Coconut oil or another neutral oil is not absolutely necessary, but it will help thin the chocolate and make it easier to work with. If you want to completely dunk the turtles in chocolate, use 1 1/2 cup chocolate chips and 2 teaspoons coconut oil. And you ever notice a white swirl through your treats that have been dunked in chocolate? I was noticing that. So I did some Googling, and it turns out that a little workaround to that, if you're not buying the highest quality chocolate, then the cocoa butter, which is the fatty part of the chocolate, will separate and create that white circle. And one way to get around that without splurging on some expensive chocolate is to add some cold chocolate chips at the very end once your chocolate has melted. It takes a bit of muscle to stir those in and melt them as well, but they will cool down the chocolate and bring it into temper. So give it a try. Remove your turtles from the freezer, drizzle the tops with melted chocolate, or dunk the entire turtle and tap off the excess. Continue until all the turtles have a chocolate coating, and then return to the fridge or freezer and allow the chocolate to harden and set for at least 10 minutes, but preferably longer, especially if you don't want them to melt too quickly in your fingers. Turtle doves, right? Well, this homemade chocolate turtles recipe makes at least 24 turtles and costs us $4.65 to make turtles that look like this, and about $5.95 to make turtles that look like this. And that means that this version costs us less than $1 per 100 grams. And if we were to purchase the traditional turtles, they would cost at least $2.50 per 100 grams. So this is likely a thriftier option, and they're a pretty cute conversation starter. So click the link below for this recipe, subscribe for a new video every Sunday at 5, and for tomorrow's day 3 of our 12 days of vegan Christmas recipes, it is 3 French hens, or how about a deliciously easy overnight French toast casserole. We'll see you tomorrow. Day 3, 3 French hens. Well, we're making a French toast casserole. Either prepare it and bake it right away, or keep it in the fridge overnight and bake it in the morning. Topped with a warm blueberry sauce, this vegan French toast casserole is perfect for the holidays. Grab a loaf of thick sliced bread that is preferably quite stale. So take advantage of getting a day-old loaf from your bakery, or if you have a fresh loaf, leave it out on the counter for a day or 2 to dry out. Add 300 grams silken tofu to your blender with a 400 milliliter can of coconut milk, 2 tablespoons arrowroot or cornstarch, 4 tablespoons cane sugar, 2 teaspoons pure vanilla extract, half a teaspoon cinnamon, a pinch of nutmeg, a 1/4 teaspoon salt, and 1 teaspoon lemon juice. Blend until smooth. Pour your blended custardy mixture into a large bowl. Dip your slices of bread in the mixture one at a time. Hold them in there for a few seconds so the bread soaks up that flavor. Flip and make sure both sides are nicely coated. Let the excess drip off and then lay the bread in your casserole dish. You can fan the slices or lay two directly on top of one another. At this point, you can store this in your fridge overnight, and when you're ready to bake your French toast, preheat your oven to 350 degrees Fahrenheit and make a sweetened butter drizzle. Melt 4 tablespoons vegan butter in a small saucepan or in the microwave with 3 tablespoons cane sugar, half a teaspoon cinnamon, a 1/4 teaspoon nutmeg, and a pinch of salt. Pour this sweetened butter over the French toast and bake for 40 to 50 minutes. While your French toast is in the oven, or ahead of time, you can prepare a quick fruit sauce. Dissolve 1/4 teaspoon arrowroot or cornstarch in a 1/4 cup water and add that to a small pot with 2 cups frozen blueberries. Bring to a low boil, reduce to a simmer, and add half a teaspoon lemon juice. Stir until the sauce has thickened. If it doesn't seem quite thick enough, add a little more starch dissolved in a dash of water. I did a total of 1/2 teaspoons. Keep your sauce warm or store it in the fridge until you're ready to serve. You can sweeten that fruit sauce if you'd like, but we add a drizzle of maple syrup and a sprinkling of powdered sugar to the top. Oh, and toasted slivered almonds are nice too. This vegan French toast casserole serves 6 and costs us just under $11, $1.75 a serving. The French toast cost under $9, and using frozen blueberries for the warm fruit sauce brings it in under $2. So click that link below for this recipe, wake up to a delightful breakfast, and subscribe for a new video every Sunday at 5 and for day 4. This one's a bit of a stretch, but call everyone to the table with this festive pumpkin beet polenta. A great alternative to soup as a first course. It's easy, inexpensive, and sure to impress. Cooking polenta, this finely ground cornmeal, is similar in process to cooking risotto, but it takes a little less attention. I'll walk you through it. Start with a balsamic beet topping. Dice 2 cups or about 350 grams of roasted beets. Drizzle 2 tablespoons balsamic vinegar, 1 tablespoon maple syrup, and sprinkle with some salt and pepper. Then set them aside or refrigerate to marinate. For the polenta, heat a wide and deep sauté pan over medium heat with a drizzle of oil or broth. Add 2 cloves of minced garlic and half a small diced onion. Season with salt and pepper and cook for 2 to 3 minutes until fragrant. Add 4 cups vegetable broth and bring to a simmer. Once simmering, lower the heat and slowly add 1 cup or 162 grams fine yellow cornmeal, a 1/4 cup at a time. Whisk constantly to avoid clumps. Cook uncovered for 20 minutes, stirring frequently. After about 10 minutes, the polenta is too thick to whisk, so switch to a wooden spoon. After 20 minutes, add in 1/2 cup or 325 milliliters pumpkin puree, 1 teaspoon fresh thyme leaves or herb of choice, half a teaspoon cinnamon, 1/8 teaspoon nutmeg, and more salt and pepper to taste. Cook for an additional 5 minutes to combine all the flavors, and your polenta is done. Last but not least, quickly sauté your beet greens. Heat half a tablespoon olive oil in a skillet and sauté 2 cloves of minced garlic for just a minute or so until fragrant. Add in 1 bunch beet greens, washed and roughly chopped. Season with salt and pepper and cook until wilted about 5 minutes. Finish with a splash of lemon juice and a pinch of red chili flakes. Let's serve this up. 4 generous servings of this pumpkin beet polenta costs us roughly $9.15 to make, about $2.30 a serving using our homemade veggie broth, and just over $12 using store-bought broth. So I'll link down below our videos on how to make nearly free vegetable broth and how to roast beets. And this polenta is best fresh. But you can absolutely make the beets ahead of time. You can even saute the beet greens ahead of time and then quickly reheat them in a pan. And you can make the polenta ahead of time. Reheat it in a pan, Add some more broth to rejuvenate it if needed, and then serve it up. Let us know in the comments below if you try this festive pumpkin beet polenta as a starter or a delicious main dish, and subscribe for tomorrow's installment of our 12 days of vegan Christmas recipes. It's day 5, 5 golden rings, or how about a lot more than 5 golden Portuguese Biscoitos cookies. 5 golden rings, or how about golden vegan Portuguese Biscoitos, or like we say on the island, Biscoitos. My grandmothers would make these cookies in massive amounts so that there was enough to gift to the whole family. And they are super simple to make. They're similar to Italian biscotti in that they make a great cookie to dunk in your tea or coffee, but they're simpler to make and they're super thrifty. Preheat your oven to 350 degrees Fahrenheit and prepare 2 cookie sheets with parchment paper or silicone mats. In a large bowl, stir 3/4 cup or 150 grams cane sugar, half a cup or 125 grams unsweetened applesauce, 6 tablespoons melted vegan butter, 1 teaspoon lemon juice, half a teaspoon vanilla extract, and a teaspoon of salt. Mix 2 teaspoons baking powder into 3 cups or 384 grams white all-purpose flour, and slowly add the flour mixture into the wet ingredients. You can stir with a spoon to start, but then mix the dough with your hands until all the flour is incorporated. Now for the fun part. To form the biscoitos, scoop ping pong sizes of dough and roll them into a long tubular shape using a silicone mat on a flat surface. If you don't have a mat, you can use a lightly floured surface. You can also roll these between your hands, but I find that the dough is more likely to break. Once the tube of dough is about 8 inches long, overlap the 2 ends to close up the circular cookie. Roll the dough a little thinner and twist it into a figure 8 shape, or create any shape you'd like. With all your cookies formed, slide them in the preheated oven to bake for 15 to 20 minutes. Melt 1 more tablespoon of butter and have it on standby for brushing the tops of the cookies. If you want softer cookies, check them after 13 minutes, brush them with melted butter, and then keep them in the oven for about 15 minutes. If you want some harder cookies, then brush them with butter after 15 minutes and keep them in for 18 to 20 minutes. I personally always like the slightly overdone ones for my avos. There we have it. This quick and easy Portuguese cookie recipe makes between 24 and 30 vegan Portuguese biscoitos and costs us $3.42 to make. If we were to make this more traditionally with dairy butter and just 2 eggs, it would cost us roughly $3.92. So click the link below for this recipe. And for day 6, 6 slices of a simple spinach and sun-dried tomato breakfast pie, a savory vegan quiche that's delicious warm or cold. So make it ahead and heat it up, or pack it up and travel with it to your holiday get-togethers. I'm making a whole wheat crust, I'm making the filling, I'm baking it, and I'm eating it. Here we go. For the crust, add some ice cubes to about half a cup of water. In a large bowl, mix 1/4 cup or 180 grams whole wheat flour and a 1/4 teaspoon salt. Slice 6 tablespoons cold butter into the flour with a fork until the flour resembles wet sand. Add the ice cold water 1 tablespoon at a time and mix with a wooden spoon. Add only as much water as is needed for the dough to just come together. Mine took 5. Form the dough into a 1/2 inch thick disc, cover, and refrigerate for at least 30 minutes and for up to 2 days. Preheat your oven to 375 degrees Fahrenheit and prepare the filling while your dough chills. Add 454 grams silken tofu, this is the softest of tofus, to your blender with 1/3 cup hummus, 3 tablespoons nutritional yeast, 1 tablespoon chickpea flour, or 1 tablespoon corn or arrowroot starch, and a 1/4 teaspoon black salt for egginess, or sub with sea salt. Blend that up until smooth and set aside. Heat 1/2 tablespoon olive oil in a skillet over medium heat. Saute 2 to 3 cloves of minced garlic and 1/3 cup red onion for just a couple minutes. Season with salt and pepper. Add 1/3 cup chopped sun-dried tomatoes and 2 cups of packed spinach. Cook another minute until the spinach is wilted and turn off the heat. Now you're ready to get the crust out of the fridge and let it sit for 5 minutes at room temperature while you grab a pie plate, a rolling pin, and 2 sheets of parchment or wax paper. Place the dough between the 2 layers of paper, roll the dough out into a circle slightly larger than your pie plate, take off the top sheet of paper, gently lay your pie plate on top, and use the bottom paper to flip your dough into the plate. Remove the paper, gently press the dough down and tidy the edge. Easily mend any holes or cracks with excess dough in the heat of your hands. Pour the filling into the pie crust, spread the sautéed veggies in, and bake for 40 to 50 minutes until the top is golden brown and firm. Let your quiche cool at least 5 minutes before serving, and your leftovers will last well for a couple of days in the fridge. This is super tasty, but a learning moment. I was scared that the crust was going to get too dark, and I took this out at just 40 minutes, and the filling is a little less set than I would like. So if you're worried about the crust getting too dark, but the filling seems a little too jiggly still in the middle, then just cover the quiche with a piece of aluminum foil and let it continue to cook with the crust protected for another few minutes. I love making this easy whole wheat crust, but the holidays are busy, so make this even easier by using a store-bought crust. The filling will take you 15 minutes and then you can pop it in the oven. And this simple, savory vegan quiche serves 6 and costs us less than $10 to make. And the vegan substitutions to the traditional eggs, cheese, and cream that would be in a quiche cost us either the same or less than the traditional ingredients. So this recipe is linked below for you to enjoy. Subscribe and join us tomorrow for our next installment of our 12 days of vegan Christmas recipes. It's day 7. 7 swans a-swimming felt like the perfect opportunity to make our favorite warm, boozy holiday drink. Brian and I fell in love with mulled wine during our winter travels to Poland and Belgium, so the holidays now just wouldn't feel right without a steaming glass of hot wine. This recipe is dangerously quick, easy, and easily customizable. I'm using one 750 milliliter bottle of wine today, which will serve about 4 mugs of mulled wine. And if you do need a vegan wine, as most wines do contain animal-derived ingredients, the website Barnivore can be a great resource. I'll link to it below. And these are 2 local Ontario wines. One is clearly labeled as vegan, the other one is not. I find that most wines aren't very clearly labeled. So grab as many bottles as you need to serve as many as you need and enjoy some mulled wine. I like to start by preparing my orange. Slice 1 orange in half and reserve half to garnish the glasses. With the other half, pierce the orange with about 10 whole cloves and then slice into rounds. To start the mulled wine, add 3/4 cup water and 1/4 cup cane sugar to a medium pot. Allow the water and sugar to come to a low boil. Boil for a couple of minutes until the sugar has dissolved. Reduce the heat to a simmer and add half a cup orange juice without pulp, 2 cinnamon sticks, 2 star anise, and the orange rounds pierced with cloves. Cook for a minute or so to combine the flavors. Reduce the heat to a very gentle simmer and add 750 milliliters red wine. Make sure the wine never boils and allow the drink to heat through for 30 minutes. You can leave the lid off the pot or slightly covering the pot. If you do have the lid on at all, just keep an eye on it and make sure that your wine doesn't boil. If it boils, it will boil off the alcohol. If it boils, it will boil off the alcohol content, and that's not really what we want here. I consulted some of our German and Swiss friends about their family recipes, and sometimes vanilla, cardamom, or fresh nutmeg are used. Some recipes include orange juice, some don't, so feel free to customize your mulled wine however you like it. And side note, star anise or star anise. Let me know what you say. I've always said star anise, and I think that's the more British English version. Star anise seems to be the more accepted pronunciation. Anyways, I digress because that's all you have to do for this recipe. Our mulled wine is ready. How delightfully easy is that? If you'll be entertaining, you can transfer your mulled wine to a slow cooker to keep warm, or you can make this whole recipe in your slow cooker. Just heat all the ingredients through for an hour or two and then switch to keep warm. And if you have leftovers, allow the mulled wine to cool completely and then store it in your fridge for up to 3 days. This recipe serves about 4 mugs of mulled wine and costs us around $1.10 in addition to the bottle of wine that we choose. And a great thing about mulled wine is that you don't have to splurge on the bottle of wine. We usually choose a bottle that's around $15. So click the link below for this cozy recipe. Subscribe for a new video every Sunday at 5, and tomorrow is day 8 of our 12 days of vegan Christmas recipes, and we're making 3 quick and easy holiday side dishes. 3! So click that notification bell below so you don't miss it. And I'm just going to travel to Europe in my mind. Us again. If you are still watching, then
you're our favorite person. But no, seriously, maybe leave a comment down below. Let us know you're still here. Where are you? Are you starving? Are you hungry? What do you want to make? Let us know. And here's some more recipes.
Day 8. 8 maids a milkin'. How about we make some creamy mashed potatoes, a savory vegan gravy, and a homemade cranberry sauce. We won't need 8 maids working away to prepare the traditional fixings for your holiday meal. These are quick and simple recipes, but when I was new to a plant-based diet, I didn't know how to make mashed potatoes without dairy milk and cream, and gravy without the drippings from a turkey. So to make sure all your basics are covered, here we go. Our easy holiday cranberry sauce is ready in 15 minutes and perfect for making ahead. Bring half a cup fresh water and a 1/4 cup cane sugar to a low boil. Add 1 cinnamon stick and strips of orange zest if you like for some extra flavor. Add 2 cups fresh or frozen cranberries and reduce the heat to a simmer. Simmer with the lid off and stir occasionally for 10 minutes until the cranberries start to make a popping noise and can be gently crushed with the back of your spoon. Stir in any other flavorings like ground spices or citrus zest. Heat for an additional minute or 2 to combine the flavors and remove from the heat. You can give your cranberry sauce a taste and add more sweetness if you'd like. I have used maple syrup in place of the granulated sugar, but I actually prefer the taste of the cane sugar a little bit more. That being said, use whatever sweetener you like best. And that was pretty simple, right? Allow your cranberry sauce to cool, store it in the fridge for up to 5 days, or you can even freeze it. And now our 10-minute savory vegan gravy. Melt 2 tablespoons of vegan butter in a small saucepan. Slowly add a 1/4 cup of flour a little bit at a time, whisking to combine with the butter. Stir in 2 teaspoons miso paste, and slowly add 2 cups of vegetable broth a 1/4 cup at a time. Whisk constantly to avoid the flour clumping, and reserve the last 1/4 cup. I forgot the miso. If you do that, just add a little bit of hot water into the miso paste, and this will help you dissolve it, and then just add it into your gravy. If the water's not hot, then you might have a harder time getting this miso to dissolve once it's in the gravy. So do this first. To be honest, every single time I make this, I forget the miso. Whisk 1 teaspoon arrowroot or cornstarch into the broth until fully combined, and pour this last 1/4 cup of broth into the gravy. Stir right away to spread the starch through the gravy. Add in 1/2 tablespoon tamari or soy sauce and a 1/2 tablespoon vegan Worcestershire sauce. You can use another 1/2 tablespoon tamari if you don't have the Worcestershire. These will add extra flavor and nice color. Raise the heat a bit if needed, bring to a simmer, and stir for 5 to 8 minutes until the gravy has thickened. Keep warm or reheat when you're ready to serve. Last but not least, your creamy mashed potatoes. Peel and slice 2.5 pounds potatoes. You can leave the skins on if you want some more texture, and dice your potatoes evenly. One thing I have learned with mashed potatoes is to not dice your potatoes too small. I'm always tempted to dice them really small, that way they cook quicker, but if they're too small, then the potatoes will take on too much water as they cook, and your mashed potatoes will taste watery. So larger dice. Try to get them as even as possible, but I mean, That's close enough. Cover your diced potatoes with water in a large pot and sprinkle in 1 teaspoon salt. The salt will really help to make your mashed potatoes much more flavorful. Bring to a boil, reduce to a low boil, partially cover the pot with the lid and watch carefully so they don't boil over. Cook for 10 to 15 minutes until the potatoes easily fall apart when pierced with a fork. I decided to keep these mashed potatoes pretty simple, but a great way to add some extra oomph into your special holiday mashed potatoes is to add in some roasted garlic. Roast your garlic ahead of time, work it into a few of your holiday dishes, and then just mash up 4 to 6 large cloves and stir them into your mashed potatoes. It's a great way to add a bit of extra flavor and make them a little more special. And today I'm using some vegan butter and soy milk to make these mashed potatoes creamy, but in general, to add some moisture to vegan mashed potatoes. You can use some of the starchy water that the potatoes cooked in, vegetable broth, or any plant milk you like best. When your potatoes are cooked, drain the water they cooked in, drop in 3 tablespoons vegan butter, and mash the potatoes. In a separate dish, roughly mash 4 to 6 large cloves of roasted garlic and add them to your potatoes. Pour in up to 1/2 cup soy milk and continue to mash your potatoes until creamy. Add more milk if needed, taste and add more salt, pepper, or any fresh herbs you'd like. Using a potato masher like this or a ricer will produce the fluffiest potatoes. Using a blender of any kind will overwork the starch and make the potatoes quite gloopy. So just like those 8 maids of milking, roll up those sleeves, get in there, use a little muscle to get the job done. And there you have it, quick and easy vegan versions of your traditional holiday fixings. Our homemade cranberry sauce costs us about $1.40 to make. Our savory vegan gravy costs $1.33 using our homemade veggie broth and $2.66 using store-bought broth. And our creamy roasted garlic mashed potatoes cost us about $2.50. These are simple recipes, but they're super flavorful and will make a great accompaniment to your main dish. And if you are still at a loss for a main dish, stay tuned for day 12. But for now, click the links below for these easy vegan holiday side dishes. Subscribe for a new video every Sunday at 5, and tomorrow is day 9 of our 12 days of vegan Christmas recipes. And we're going a wassailing. I'm excited. Day 9, 9 ladies wassailing. Do you know what a wassail is?
Here we come a-wassailing among the leaves so green, and here we come a-wandering so fair to be seen.
That was my only reference, but I didn't know wassail as a noun is a delicious, warm apple cider holiday drink served with a shot of alcohol or not. So let's make some wassail and wassail. Also, if I look a little purple, it is because we just filmed our mulled wine video. That was day 7. So we've done all of our alcohol in one day. Here we go. In a large pot, combine 8 cups of your favorite apple cider, 1.5 cups orange juice, preferably with no pulp, 1/3 cup lemon juice, 2.5 thumb-sized pieces of ginger, 2 cinnamon sticks, 2 star anise, and 1 apple sliced into rounds and poked with 16 whole cloves. Bring this to a simmer and allow it to simmer for 30 to 45 minutes. After the wassail is sufficiently heated through, you can transfer it to a slow cooker to keep warm. Or you can do the whole process in your slow cooker. Just heat everything for 1 to 2 hours on high and then switch to keep warm. To serve an alcoholic wassail, add about 1.5 ounces whiskey or alcohol of choice into your mug, top it off with hot wassail, and garnish with a fresh cinnamon stick and apple slice if desired. To serve a non-alcoholic wassail, just ladle the hot wassail into your mug, garnish if desired, and sip away. This hot wassail recipe makes 6 to 8 cups of wassail and costs us just under $5 if we buy our apple cider from our wholesale store, and just over $6 if we buy our cider from our local grocery store. So click the link below for this recipe and comment below to let us know what other holiday drinks might be a family tradition for you. And turn on those notifications because tomorrow is day 9 of our 12 days of Christmas recipes. So turn on those notifications because we're making a party mix.
Day 10.
Day 10? Tomorrow is day 10 of our 12 days of Christmas recipes, and we're making a party mix. Day 10, Lord's a leapin'. If you have a man in your life, a brother, father, uncle, cousin, husband, and you put a bowl of a crunchy cereal nut pretzel mixture on a table, they will leap to and crowd around and stay there until that bowl is empty. So here we go. A crowd-pleasing party mix that is easy to prepare and just so darn easy to finish. And not just the men. I'm saying men because Lord's a leapin', but all individuals. Preheat your oven to 275 degrees Fahrenheit. Prepare 2 baking sheets with parchment paper or silicone mats. We're working with 3 cups plain or whole wheat Cheerios, 3 cups Quaker corn squares, 3 cups plain Shreddies, and 3 cups pretzel sticks. Feel free to use whatever cereals you like or have available to you. I have a Rolodex of tongue twisters that I warm up with, and 3 cups Quaker corn squares is a new one now. 3 cups Quaker corn squares, try it. 3 cups Quaker corn squares. Can you do it?
3 cups Quaker corn squares, 3 cups Quaker.
Oh yeah, he thought he was so good. I'm just gonna eat some party mix and say 3 cups Quaker corn squares. I find it easier to use 2 large bowls and add 1½ cups of each ingredient to each bowl. This way the mixtures are easier to stir when you add the seasonings and will bake more evenly. In a small saucepan, melt ½ cup or 1 stick of vegan butter with 3 tablespoons Worcestershire sauce, 1½ teaspoon chili garlic sauce or hot sauce of your choice, ½ teaspoon salt, 1/4 teaspoon smoked paprika, and 1/4 teaspoon to ½ teaspoon cane sugar. As soon as the butter has melted, remove it from the heat and pour half over the mixture in your first bowl. Stir right away to evenly coat all the cereal and pretzels. Then pour the other half of the butter over the mixture in your second bowl and stir to coat. Spread the party mix in an even layer on 2 prepared baking sheets and bake at 275 degrees Fahrenheit for 1 hour. For an even toastiness, stir the mixture and rotate the pans every 15 minutes. After an hour has passed, take out your party mix, allow to cool, and store in an airtight container. So good, so easy. Have some fun with it. Throw in some nuts, change up the cereal, change up the seasonings, bring it to gatherings, gift it, but make sure to make some extra for yourself. And this recipe makes 585 grams and costs us roughly $8.25. That's about $1.40 per 100 grams, which is a little bit pricier than if we buy a party mix from our wholesale store, and about the same, a little less than buying a party mix from our local grocery store. But this one is homemade with lots of love and it's always a hit. So click that link below for this recipe and subscribe for tomorrow's penultimate video of our 12 days of vegan Christmas recipes. It's day 11, Piper's piping, and Piper's sounds close enough to peppermint, right? See you tomorrow. Day 11, Piper's, well, that was 10. Day 11, Piper's piping, peppermint patties. We've got the alliteration, that's good enough for me. Peppermint patties are one of my favorite Christmas treats when I was young, and when I set out to make a vegan version of my own, I wanted to make the creamy peppermint filling out of coconut instead of just sugar, and a happy accident occurred. I ended up making a cross between a peppermint patty and a Bounty bar, or Mounds bars for our American friends. And unlike most of my baking accidents, this one was delicious, it was easy, and it was a keeper. Oh yeah, here we go. Add 2 cups finely shredded coconut to your food processor and process for about 2 minutes until the coconut starts forming a paste. Stop to scrape down your machine and give it a break if needed. Add a 1/4 cup maple syrup, ½ teaspoon pure peppermint extract, and blend the mixture until it starts to form a ball or will hold together if you pinch it between your fingers. Use a cookie scoop or tablespoon to scoop the mixture and form the dough into a patty with your hands. Lay the formed patties on a lined baking sheet and pop that in your freezer for at least 15 minutes to harden. Add 1½ cup vegan dark chocolate chips to a bowl with 2 teaspoons coconut oil and melt them on the stovetop using a double boiler method or in the microwave. Remove the hardened patties from the freezer and dunk them one at a time in the melted chocolate. Lift the patties with a fork and tap the covered patty on the surface of the chocolate in the bowl to pull off the excess chocolate. Return the chocolate-covered patty to the baking sheet and continue with the rest of the patties. Allow the patties to harden in the fridge or freezer for 1 hour or until the chocolate is set. I always used to throw out leftover chocolate. What was I thinking? Put it in a jar, melt it again, put it on your breakfast pancakes or something. Or make some quick bark. That's what I'm gonna do right now. Throw in some cranberries, some almonds in. Maybe that's enough. Stir it all together. It's really handy if you have a silicone mat, or probably parchment paper should work too. Let's see. Scoop your chocolate down. It'll be more like a chocolate cluster this way. Look at this. Why go to waste? So I don't totally know what I'm doing, but I assume this is how you make chocolate bark, right? I'm gonna pop this in the freezer and see what happens. These are my favorite. And if you don't have a food processor, you can try just mixing the shredded coconut with the maple syrup and peppermint extract. The texture will be less smooth and creamy, but it should still be really tasty. And this recipe makes 12 patties and costs us just under $6 or 50 cents a patty. So click the link below for this recipe, subscribe for a new video every Sunday at 5, and tomorrow is the culmination of our 12 days of vegan Christmas recipes, and we are capping off this holiday extravaganza with an elegant main dish, a Beet Wellington.
How much chocolate have you eaten, Catherine?
I'm eating so much chocolate today. We decided to shoot all of our chocolate videos in the same day. Day 12, the culmination of our 12 days of vegan Christmas recipes, and we're going out with a scrumptious main dish. A savory beet and mushroom Wellington wrapped in a flaky golden pastry, and it happens to be surprisingly simple to make. Heat a skillet over medium heat and saute 1 diced shallot or small onion and 4 cloves of minced garlic in half a tablespoon olive oil or broth. Season with salt and pepper. Add 190 grams or 2½ cups chopped mushrooms. I'm using 2 large portobello mushrooms. Allow these to cook and release their moisture for 5 minutes. Meanwhile, peel and shred 1 large and raw red beet. Use a couple if your beets are a little smaller. And if you have a food processor with a shredding attachment, it makes this step really quick and easy. Add the shredded beet, 1 cup packed spinach, 2½ tablespoons tamari or soy sauce, half a tablespoon Worcestershire sauce, or sub with more tamari, 1 teaspoon dried thyme, 1 teaspoon dried oregano, or use 1 tablespoon of each if you're using fresh herbs, and 1 teaspoon smoked paprika. Cook until the spinach is wilted, remove the mixture from the heat, and stir in 1 cup almond flour. With that, your filling is done, and a great thing about this recipe is that it's ideal if the filling is cool when you put it on your pastry, so make it ahead and keep it in your fridge. For today, I'm just going to let it cool down while I roll out my pastry. Roll out 1 sheet of frozen puff pastry, but make sure you have allowed it to thaw before getting started. On a lightly floured surface, roll the pastry out to about 12 by 12 inches. You want to have about 4 inches of pastry on either side of your filling so you can wrap it up. Get a small bowl of warm water ready and pat your filling into a log shape. Transfer the log of filling onto your pastry and dampen the edges of the pastry with the warm water. Fold the pastry over the filling and seal it in like you're sealing a letter. For the sides, cut a little bit out of the top fold. This way there isn't too much pastry on the ends when you slice into your Wellington. With the Wellington all wrapped up, flip it over so the seam is on the bottom. As if this recipe couldn't get easier, you can freeze the Wellington at this point. I like to pop it in my freezer on a baking tray for a couple of hours and then transfer it to a freezer bag once it's frozen. It will take a little longer to bake from frozen, but it's a super convenient option. Okay, so I rolled that out a little bigger than 12 by 12 and it was a little thin on top, so hopefully it works. There's always something with cooking, right? When you're ready to bake your Wellington, preheat your oven to 400 degrees Fahrenheit and make X's or angled slits in the top of your pastry for steam to escape. Brush the Wellington all over with 1 tablespoon melted vegan butter and bake on a lined baking sheet for 30 to 35 minutes. Remember that chocolate bark that I made with the leftover chocolate in yesterday's Peppermint Patties video? Turned out okay. Not bad. I maybe like it looking like this, a bit better than this, but hey, use your leftover chocolate. waste not, want not. You can brush the Wellington with a bit more melted butter when it's almost done, and you will know it's done when the pastry is nicely golden and you can see the filling bubbling through the slits you made in the top. Let your Wellington sit for about 5 minutes to cool down a bit and then slice into it. We love serving this Wellington with our fixings from day 8 of our 12 days of vegan Christmas recipes. Some mashed potatoes and gravy, cranberry sauce, and roasted vegetables would be lovely. You'll get 4 nice slices out of this Wellington plus the end pieces. So I like to say that this recipe serves 4 and costs us $10 to make. If we were to make a more traditional beef Wellington with just 1.5 pounds of beef, the beef from our wholesale store would likely cost us $10, and from our local grocery store, it would cost us upwards of $20. And just like that, we have come to the end of our 12 days of vegan Christmas recipes and our last video for our first calendar year as Tasty, Thrifty, Timely. This recipe is linked below for you to enjoy, and we will be back with our regular scheduled programming of a new video every Sunday at 5 starting January 9th, 2022. So leave a comment below, let us know what you want to see for next year, and thank you so much for following along. We have had so much fun getting to know you, being inspired by you, and making delicious food with you. Thank you to our families for being our first line of taste testers. And Brian and I wish you and your families the happiest of holiday seasons. So what do you think, Brian? It's November 27th for us, and we're cooked. We'll see you next year.
That's it. Just a quick, easy 12 recipes went by like that.
We so appreciate you watching and interacting with us in this little TTT community we have.
It's the best part, I think.
Yeah, it's really special. So let us know in the comments what you will be making this holiday season and if you try any of these recipes. And next week,
we have another top 10. We're going to give you 10 more Christmas-inspired recipes that are new to the blog, newer to YouTube, but we think they should be on your table this holiday season because they're fan favorites, I think.
Yeah, so you like these top 10 videos, we like the top 10 videos, so we'll have another one coming your way.
But we're also going to have some more recipe videos too. We've got gingerbread energy balls coming. We've got a hot chocolate coming, so hit that notification bell. Make sure you're all
set up to know when we post.
It's been a long one. We've been sitting here the whole time. Just kidding, we haven't.
Thank you for watching this holiday extravaganza, and happy holidays.